So why do we have these beliefs? It's your programming. Programming means like the way you condition, what you've been told, what you learned at school. Someone actually asked me about brainwashing, right? Brainwashing is a bad term, but programming is basically like brainwashing, right? You're changing your brain, changing your beliefs. Every one of us were programmed or brainwashed a certain way. The most people, think about the people who taught you when you're young, or your teachers, are they financially successful? No. Were the principal financially successful? No. So the stuff they taught you was the wrong type of programming. Because you only have two types of programming. You have wealth consciousness or poverty consciousness. Okay, you do things just like problems and solutions. You think things that either attract money or repels money. But it's all from our programming. So where do we get our programming from? So let's help me fill this out. What's hard? Earn dollars, right? So money is hard. When you're young, what else? What doesn't grow on trees? Money doesn't grow on trees, right? So is money, when you start having this type of programming, is money easy to get or hard to get? Hard. It's irreplaceable. This goes back to zero-sum game. Hard. If you lose it, you're not going to get it back, right? Oh, you lose it, it's very hard to get back. But actually, wealthy people, there's tons of money. That's why people are successful. They're not afraid to be bankrupt or losing money, because you can always get the money back. Okay? So you must be careful. Where do we get this program? You got to be careful a couple of things. Number one, who you talk to. Who you talk to. That's why it's very important to be part of like a mastermind, work with people who are successful, more successful than you, because their language is different. Okay? What you listen to. The media out there. The radio. The music. What you read, right? In terms of news, media, is it mostly positive or negative? Negative, right? You took any newspaper in any major city, you take the Brisbane paper, I bet you at least 80 to 90% of it's negative. What you spend time on, what do you spend time on? And what you think about. Because whatever you think about, that's what we get, right? What we focus on is what we get. Because our actions, what makes us do actions? Our thoughts. So whatever is up here, that's what we do. So you got to be careful with your thoughts. So the media, I'll share a tip. One of the things you should not do is you should not be reading the news. Well, first of all, the newspaper, news or internet, it's not worthwhile news anyway. If something really important happened, are you going to rely on the newspaper? Right? Or if something really urgent happened, your loved ones will probably tell you about it. You never rely on the internet or Twitter to tell you about it, right? So you don't really need to read that junk. It's all garbage. I never watch the news. What I do read, I read Wall Street Journal every day for ideas, business ideas, and I read sports for 10 minutes. It makes me happy. Right? As entrepreneurs, do we get beat down? Do we have to do things that make us feel good? Right? So I read sports, it makes you feel good. But somebody asked me, if you don't read the news, though, how can you know how to talk to someone, right? Because if you're meeting with your friends, they're talking, wouldn't you feel left out? Let me ask you, would you feel left out if you didn't know what's going on?
Yeah.
So how can you network and connect with them?
Become a really good listener.
Right, 80-20, you ask questions. Right? Here's the tip, okay? If you want to be able to connect with people, this is what I do. I go to a major newspaper, I look at the headlines. And all the sub-headlines, and I look at the captions of the pictures. Just by reading that, you know enough to have a decent conversation. Okay? Because you would ask questions, let the other person talk. So, for example, like this Malaysian Airlines thing. I don't know the details. Okay, I just know that some plane from Malaysia, a lot of Chinese passengers, they disappeared. And the Malaysian government screwed up, they can't find it. The Australians, everyone's trying to help find a plane. Right? I don't need to read the articles to know about the lives of everyone there. Because think of 10 years from now, do you actually really need to know that? Think of the things that happened when you're younger. Do you remember the details? Doesn't matter. It has no impact on your life. It's just like a short-term like satisfaction. There's no impact long-term to your future, nothing. Right? But if you read the headlines, you basically know what it is. You're just good enough to ask questions. And I'm telling you, your friends who read that type of stuff, right? They know that. Do you feel like they're happy to share? Yeah, because they spend all the time reading about. So you just ask them, what happened to the passenger? Oh, they'll be like telling you, can you hear about the one guy from China? Blah, 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 blah. You keep talking. Really? Tell me more. What else? Who else was on that plane? Oh, blah, 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 keep talking, right? I'm never going to find that plane. When do you think they're going to find that plane? Oh, he's going to start talking. Who do you think screwed up on the search? Oh, he's going to start talking, right? You don't even need to know anything, right? Well, you think, wow, Simon's really cool. Because I let him talk. Right? He actually felt like he actually read something for a purpose, worthwhile, right? But we are smart. We don't need to clutter our mind. Our mind, we're talking about what we need to focus on. We need to focus on the business. We can't clutter our mind thinking about these type of things because they're very major distractions. If it enters your mind, it's a distraction. We'll cover that in the afternoon, how this whole programming thing starts. So,
Facebook's getting just as bad, though.
yeah, that's why Facebook's getting bad. So I don't pay attention to it. You can't look at it because it's very easy to get sucked in.
Pretty people tell you that there's a storm coming, right? And you need to go outside.
You know the biggest, this is funny you brought up Facebook, right? A TV station, in the US we have the Weather Channel, right? That's actually the top 3, something like top 4 most watched TV station. Like, if it's a storm is coming, all right, a storm is coming. You need to sit there for 30 minutes watching the storm coming, people talking about the storm coming, right? It's totally retarded. But actually, the ratings are dropped now because people are checking on Facebook and they're checking on their phones, like the weather app. I was in the gym. Right? I don't follow the basketball that closely, but like I spent 5-10 minutes a day on ESPN.com, look at the headlines, and that's good enough. If you talk to me, you think I'm a big NBA fan, right? But it's good enough to carry a good conversation. But I was actually in the gym, there's 2 months ago, they have ESPN on, and they'll talk about the Super Bowl. And the Denver team this is American football, was going to play in New York with cold weather, right? And it's like the first time in history that the Super Bowl is actually going to be in cold weather, because they normally choose a nice warm weather. It's going to be cold weather. And the Denver actually had cold weather that weekend, and they're practicing before they go to New Jersey. So the reporter asked the question, well, how does the cold weather in Denver help you prepare for the cold weather in New Jersey? I was like, well, I mean, what do you expect the athlete to say, right? That's the dumbest question. Well, of course, he said, of course it's going to help us. You're going to help us get in the condition. We're used to the cold weather. That's like the most dumbest question. But they had the guy talk about the weather, preparing for the end for 10 minutes. And people actually sit there, wasting the time. We know better. We can't clutter our minds. So just stay away from it. Facebook, the news feed, that's what they call it, news feed. They want you to see the news. It gets very, very distracting. Okay, and now especially Facebook, now the videos play by itself, right? So when you go to Facebook, the videos play by itself.
It's annoying, though.
Right? So, but you know that. So you stay away from it. Again, with everyone else doing that, that's when you don't do it. Because if you do what everyone else does, you get the same results as everyone. So here are 10 limiting beliefs that are killing your business, sabotaging you. Let's talk about the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. Now, what's the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur? Employee trades time for money, right? Entrepreneurs do what?
Making money. That money makes money.
Leverage.
Leverage. What do you mean by leverage?
Like to the money.
Money making money, right? Or using money to create time. Because what's the only thing, we talked about last night, what's the only thing that limits our time, right? The reason I can get Peter rocking my downline? Time. So money gives you more time. That's why this business is very good. It's very good for passive income. I mean, MLM is, there's pros and cons. Like I said, it's good and bad. I mean, a traditional business, you actually can make more income, active income. But for passive income, MLM is probably the easiest way to make passive income. To make like 50, 100 grand of passive income, so you can do other things, way easier than real estate, way easier than other businesses. So you really just have to open your mouth and do sales and prospecting and do some teaching. That's all you have to do. You don't have to worry about all the other stuff. So passive income creates time. Time can do things. What else about employees? What's the difference between employees and entrepreneurs? Employees have a boss. So entrepreneurs have freedom, right? Freedom, which is good and bad. So the problem is, how many of you like to be your own boss? Okay? We're very good at being our own boss. But we're also have to be our own employee. And we're very bad employees. Okay? It's like motivation to prospect today. I don't feel like prospecting. But your boss side doesn't want to fire your employee side. Right? To fire. That's why that gets the lizard brain again. That's why we have to create routines. Fight or flight. We all like to be good bosses, but we don't like to be employees. We're very, very bad employees when we work for ourselves. Okay, what else about employees and entrepreneurs?
They want security.
Security, right? Employees want security. So entrepreneurs, some people say, have risk. Do entrepreneurs have risk? Yeah. They have risk. Right? Even you start this business, you invest a couple $100, you have risk. Who has more risk? The employee has risk or the entrepreneur has risk? Right? How many say entrepreneurs have more risk? Okay? Who says employees have more risk?
Employees have more risk.
Employees have more risk. Right? Because, some of you look puzzled, because what's the most valuable thing that no one can take from you? Mind up here. Okay? Who develops the mind more, the entrepreneur or the employee? Entrepreneur. Because, entrepreneur could do whatever you want. You would have lots of challenges. So short term, the entrepreneur has more risk. He has to put more money, he has to put money, risking his time, money. But once you grow up here, but who grows their mind more, the employee or the entrepreneur? Entrepreneur. Long term, who has more risk? Employee, because you don't have the mind, right? You take an entrepreneur, like any business. Like for example, if something ever happened to my own business, I could regrow another own business because I have it up here. Employee, you take away the job, a lot of times that's all they know how to do, right? That's what the older you get, the less valuable you are to a company. Think about this. I was sharing with someone the other day. He's in his 40s, and he's worried about his job because companies, what do? Do they like 40, 50-year-old employees?
No.
Who do they like? Younger employees. So the older you are, the little less attractive you are. Entrepreneur, like I've been in the business like 10 years, 11 years now. I feel like I'm just entering into my prime now. Right? The older you got in business, you get better and better and better. An employee, you go worse and worse and worse. So long term, what's the bigger risk? Right? Employees have the bigger risk. So that alone is like a mindset shift. Right? So if things are hard now, you should embrace the challenges because you overcome the challenges and things will get easier and easier and easier because you're growing your mind. This is the biggest asset. People can steal your money, but people can't steal your mind. Right? So once you're an entrepreneur, you're growing here. Someone asked me, like, my son, if this is actually, because university education, this is why I'm still working. Like, one of the things, challenges, but like, how much is university in a year in here, Australia? A year, 1 year, university. 10,000 university. Okay, in the U.S. It's in the U.S. like a private school is 60,000 now a year for 1 year. 1 year, 60 grand. Okay, it's incredible. We're talking about like
University or private school?
Private school. Private school.
University.
University. 1 year university. Private. Okay. A public university. I'm talking about like the poor, the middle class getting squeezed. Since I moved to LA, like the tolls, everything doubled in price. Petrol has tripled in price. Okay. When I first moved to LA, like my wife went to. Actually, my wife was. She went to Berkeley, but she wasn't in state. So if you live in California, UCLA at that time was like $6,000 a year, which is a really good deal, right? If you probably heard of UCLA, pretty well known, UC Berkeley, $6,000 a year. Now, like what, 12 years later, because of budget cuts and stuff like that, it's like $26,000 a year. Okay, the income is not increasing. The average salary in the U.S. is still $45,000, $50,000. Okay, but tuition is basically quadrupled. to 27. Now, private school, like when I went to Columbia, it's like when I went there, it was like 20, room and board was like 30,000. Right? That was like maybe 15, what's it, 20, when I graduated 20 years ago, 19, I can't believe 20 years, 19 years ago, right? Now it's like 60-something thousand. I think it's like 65,000 room and board. So by the time my kid comes, we calculate, it's gonna be like 700,000. It's gonna be 150,000 a year. So someone asked me, will you pay for his education? Because my parents actually paid for my education, which actually, I was very grateful to them, but now I actually regret it, because I thought that made me weak. Because you were talking about in the car, you have to work hard, because you develop character when you go through tough times. So I had it easy in university, and I had an allowance. Like my brother and I were, in secondary school, we had allowance. So like, and my brother was different. Like I was always behaved well. I hated to study, but the reason I studied was because ever since I was a kid, I wanted to have money to buy G.I. Joes, Transformers. So as long as I study hard, my parents would give me some allowance. Okay? Because again, my parents know about school. Go to school. Never told me about thinking like a business. And that actually had a lot of things that held me back. Because I was going to be a doctor, engineer. If you're Asian, you're not a doctor, engineer, you become a lawyer, accountant, right? My dad, he grew up from a family of 6. He lived in a 2-bedroom. The front was a hardware store, the back, upstairs with the kids. And so I don't know what he saw, what my grandfather did, but he was very saying, business is bad. Businessmen are bad. You should be a doctor. The doctors are honest. Business is bad. So since I was young, I wasted probably 10 years of my life studying the wrong thing because I thought business are bad. I should be like all Asians. They should be doctors or lawyers. So the programming impacts you a lot. But getting back to we were talking about employees, entrepreneurs. So what were we talking about? The biggest risk, right? The college education. So my son, I think if he went to the top 25 uni, I'll pay for it. If he's not going to the top 25 uni, I'm not paying for it. 700,000 is a nice couple of vacations. Very nice. I'm not spending the money because I actually don't believe that education, unless you go to a good uni, can help you out. It's being an entrepreneur. Now, if he probably needed $500,000 loan to start a business, I'd probably give it to him. Easier than giving him $700,000 to go to uni and party and drink or whatever kids do nowadays. Okay, or play video games or whatever, hang out. But in talking about skill-wise, I think the most important skill I'll teach my son is to sell. Learning to sell, because if you can sell, you can make a living and put food on the table. Yeah, I have a friend. He sells all types of stuff. All these businesses he doesn't do well in these businesses, but he always can put food on the table. He sells handbags, at this imitation fake China handbags in the market. He goes door to door selling jewelry. He has sold supplements. But he can sell. If you can sell, you can make a living. Right? And that's what Robert Kiyosaki, in his book, this is a good book to read, Business School. It talks about network marketing, business school, for those who like to help others. It talks about the whole purpose, even if you don't make any money in MLM, but if you teach you how to sell and teach you how to market, then it's worth it, because it's like a free business school. By the way, did you know how Robert Kiyosaki became famous? Okay, before the board game, you know how he became famous? His board game, by the way, is very good. In terms of working with your team, bonding, everybody should play that board game at least once. Right? It teaches you the importance of having a business. Anyone not play the board game? Yeah, you should go get it. It's like $200, totally worth it. The lessons you learned it, the business lessons you learned it, you play it 5 times, you probably don't need to play again, but the lessons you learn from 5 times is totally worth the $200. It's called cash flow.
My kids have played.
Huh?
My kids have played.
Yeah, you can imagine you have a kids version too.
I played the adult.
The other ones is good. Yeah. They have a really kids version, and then there are kids play it. So it's a very, very good game. Teaches you how to save money and to invest money. The importance of a small business. It's like real life, like a real life Monopoly, not like fake Monopoly. Real life. Okay, it's called Cash Flow Quadrant.
Yes.
Cash Flow, the board game.
I played a lot.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Now the online version, they have an online version too, but the board game is good for team building. Building with your team. It's very good. But Robert Kiyosaki, you know how he became famous? Not because of the board game. He made money by Velcro, right? But how did he become? He didn't become famous, but he made a lot of money doing Velcro. But what made him really famous?
He wrote the book.
Rich Dad Poor Dad book, right? But did you know that book, when it first came out, was a massive, massive failure?
What marketers have made it famous.
Okay? So what happened was, he came out, it was actually in the early 90s, where the book was called like, Why You Go to School Doesn't Make You Dumb. Why You Go to School Makes You Dumb, that's the title.
One English and have you don't go to school.
Yeah, something like that, right? And no one bought that book. Total failure. And actually funny, because I actually met a guy in Singapore when I first went there. He did options trading. He went to an options seminar to hear this big options guru. And the guy who opened the seminar was Robert Kiyosaki, when he was like a nobody, right, opening up a seminar. This was back in like the 94. So he came out with a book, total failure, massive failure. So normally if you've been writing a book, you failed once, no publisher will ever give you a chance. So he basically, tinkered a little bit, changed the title, called it Rich Dad Poor Dad, and no one knows what the book is. But Amway, they have a book club, they liked the book. Amway picked it up, started promoting the distributors, and all of a sudden everyone in Amway bought the book. They sold thousands of copies. And once you sell thousands of copies, then the publishers notice you. You go to a publisher, hey, there are thousands of people purchase it. Then the big real-time publisher purchased it. They started publishing it, and then became a New York Times and stuff like that. Okay, but it's because of Amway. That's the power of the network marketing. Okay, the power of network marketing is not just the money, the education, but the network. It's just I was sharing the other day, it's the community, right? Because of the business, I have a huge community. I have a community of friends in Brisbane. It's the network. People forget about the power. And that's why Robert Kiyosaki has written 2 books about network marketing. Because it's just to really give back. Like the book Business School, for those people who like to help people, that's a very good book. I read it when I first started. A very good belief builder about the business, about this profession. Okay? Because if it wasn't for network marketing, you'd still be a no-name. Okay? So employee entrepreneurs, the risk, right? Talk about risk, the definition. What are the definitions do we have for entrepreneur, employee?
Entrepreneur is someone who looks outside the box, doesn't take risk.
Want to take risks outside. They look they're solution oriented, right? But outside the box. And today we're really talking about going outside the box, right? Thinking outside, right? So when you say outside the box, it's like this is the box. So I pick on Tony. This is Tony. Okay? Actually, Tony's nose is crooked. I'm sorry. I'm not a good artist. Okay? That actually looks very bad. I'm sorry. So this is Tony's. This is his box. He just goes in here.
So this is your drinking buddy. This is your drinking.
No, this is Tony right here. We're just picking. Tony. He could be my drinking buddy. No, I don't drink. Okay, so everything that Tony knows has created his current situation. If Tony wants to be different, he's got to go outside the box, think differently, right? So these are things we're working on, like change your attitude towards money. That money is replaceable, not the zero-sum game. Employees, write this down. Employees. And by the way, someone actually asked me, could they post my stuff on Facebook? You can take whatever I say and post on Facebook, okay? My blogs and stuff. You don't need to ask me for permission. A lot of times people message me on Facebook, ask me for permission. That immediately will cut down 20% of the messages I get. So if you want to just take it and share it, it doesn't matter. Employees are overpaid in the beginning. So, Aina, what do you do for your job? What type of work?
Croupier in the casino.
Yeah, what?
Dealer.
Dealer in the casino. Which is a dealer in the casino.
No, dealer.
Oh, okay. So the first time when she started at a casino, right? Did you know what you're doing?
No.
Okay, so you have to be trained. Okay, so first couple of days you don't really show what you're doing.
It was like 4 weeks training.
4 weeks training.
Yes.
Train for 4 weeks. Okay, so you really didn't know it. So you're totally overpaid. You don't make any money for the casino, right? You're not doing any value for the casino. You're not making them any money. Actually, you're sucking up the casino's time. They got to train you, pay you, do all that stuff. Do they send you some for training, company training?
The casino provided.
Yeah, so they probably have to feed you, give you lunch.
Well, we got 3 meals.
3 meals. So they're totally overpaid. You're doing no work. You go show up. You get free meals, overpaid. right? Now that you're working, do you get your full value? No. You're making the casino a lot more money than what they're paying you, right? So as long as you have the casino, you'll be underpaid for the rest of your life. So employees are overpaid at the beginning, but underpaid for the rest of their life. Okay, you're overpaid in the beginning, but underpaid for the rest of your life. Entrepreneurs, we're the opposite. We're underpaid in the beginning. I had to talk to 42 people to get my first sign up. Now, how much time do you think it took me to get 42 people? Long time. Presentations, phone calls. It was at least 40 hours. Okay? 40 hours. Phone calls, follow-ups, doing meetings, driving, stuff. You know, added up 40 hours. Now, I got a three business center sign up. How much money did I earn in the 3 business sign up? Nothing, because my other leg had nobody, right? So you could say this business doesn't work. It's a scam. Or you only help the upline make money. Well, upline made money when I got a 3BC, but I didn't earn any money, right? But then you're just the wrong mindset. So I didn't earn any money, but later eventually I did earn $100 from that sign up. So I worked 40 hours and earned $100, right? What's my hourly rate? $2. That's worse than Centerlink, right? Worse than welfare. So I'm really, really underpaid. But by the way, someone remind me to talk about hourly rate later, okay? Someone remind me. In the afternoon, after lunch. So I'm really, really underpaid. But now, if you work 30 minutes a month, you get over what? It's like, don't talk about monthly, but like 1 hour a week, right? I'll do a webinar, get paid over 6 figures, $2,000, $3,000. A Monday morning just comes in, I'm overpaid, $2,000 an hour. Totally overpaid. I don't do much for the company. I'm more or less retired. That's being overpaid. So entrepreneurs, we're underpaid in the beginning, but overpaid for the rest of our lives. Just like Mark Zuckerberg, he's Bill Gates, started, didn't make much money, sacrifice. But now they're overpaid. So the difference is there's a trade-off. Employees are overpaid in the beginning, underpaid the rest of their life. Entrepreneurs, you're underpaid, but they're overpaid. And so you have to be smart. When you're at rejection, when things are not working out, you know this is just that time where you're going to be underpaid. If things are not working out, you just talk the mindset, right? Instead of saying, oh, this doesn't work, a good way to look at it is this is your business school. In Chinese, one of my leaders says, this is your 学费. Okay? 学费 is tuition fee. Okay? So you're working and you don't make any money in the first 2-3 years in the business, but you should tuition fee. You're learning. And this is another write-downer. Write it down. If you're not earning, make sure you're learning. If you're not earning, make sure you're learning. Because as long as you're learning, sooner or later, one day you will make it. And it doesn't take that many people. It just takes 1 or 2 very motivated people. Your mindset should be, I'm looking like Rocky. I'm looking for the next Rocky. Okay? Helen, I'm looking for the next Helen. Okay? Not all these people give excuses. But no, I'm looking for the next Helen. Right? You showed up for the training yesterday afternoon at Sophia's house. It was hot. Well, you were there. By the way, that was hot yesterday. I thought I was going to Australia to be winter. I feel like I'm in the Philippines. I think the last time, thank you for the hospitality. This is actually a joke. The last time I did a training that hot was like in the Philippines, Manila. But you were there, and then you were there last night, you were here today. You're looking for that type of person. Okay, and you have to sort through them. So you're looking for the winner. Okay, entrepreneurs looking for that leader. And when you're not making money, you're looking for that.
So Simon, if you have someone that's joined you in business and they don't earn anything for 6 months, but they're at every event and they're all that, then you keep going with them. Is that
I keep going with now. The thing is, were they at the event?
They're turning up to events all the time.
Do they prospect though? Are they prospecting?
They've got to be prospecting.
Prospecting. Okay, so they got to be building the business. Like John, we'll talk about John at convention later, but he signed up one person for 6 months, but he used to bring 3-way calls to me. But he just couldn't close people.
Yeah.
He just couldn't close. He's not and it was like I'll share with you why convention is important. That got him going. But if they're just showing for events, then they just here for the social club. But they got to be performing. Now, if they just show up for events, I'm not going to work with them. But if they start bringing meetings to you, I'll work with them. Because sooner or later, it's like riding a bike. Sooner or later, they'll get it.
Well, I know someone who is When I introduced Risana to her, I didn't think too much about the financial situation, but she accepted, she signed as an associate. But she's just so shy to ask anybody. You can call it shy or proud, whichever way you call it. But she's always, whenever she can, as long as there is, like, today she's not here because the husband is sick. But she's always there, and she wants to do it, but it's like as if something is blocking her. And because we're in the same church, we went to the extent of speaking to one of the church friends. And then she agreed to listen to the thing, and then I sent this associate of mine to talk, to follow up, and then so this church friend became her PC. Well, I just, to the extent that I reached all the way out, but it's like this is something that is really big blocking her.
Yeah, sure. There is a very, very big thing blocking her,
Yeah,
right? Very big thing. Yeah, you get one. So she has a lot of fears, right? One of the best ways to deal with that person is like if you prospect, you take them with you. So you're very outgoing, right? So when you go shopping, you take them with her. Say, you have a conversation with someone, let her see what you do.
Well, it's a good idea, but the thing is, I go everywhere and anytime, so I pick up people along the way.
So you have her date. No, that's 24 hours. You follow her for, you take one afternoon, could be Saturday, whatever, for 2 hours, and she follows you.
Oh, okay.
For 2 hours. That's it, for 2 hours. And then maybe you talk to one or two people, and you give her a chance to talk to someone. Give her a chance to do it.
Because when I spoke to a friend in church, she was actually next to me. But it was just happened that we were having a dinner.
Yeah, but she has to do it, though. So she watches you. It's basically training is see me do with me, do alone. Like monkey see, monkey do, monkey, right? See me do, watch me do it, and then we do it together, right? And then you let her do it herself. So it could be as simple as, hey, how's it going? You're a very good talker. You introduce her. So, for example, what's her name? Her name, your friend's name.
Trish.
Trish. So I'll say, hey, hi, Brownie, how's it going? How you doing? And then first time you just greet her. Second time, hey, Brownie, how's it going? Hey, this is Trish. And then she would say, hey, hi, Brownie, I'm Trish. Right? And then she feels more comfortable. You're doing small little steps to build her confidence. And let her then greet the person. A lot of times we do training, we tell people to take a big step. You take small little baby steps to build confidence. It's the same way like when you train, when a new distributor starts, sometimes we reward the wrong behavior, right? You give recognition if someone signs up. The PC, oh, great, congratulations. Rank advancements, right? But a person that brought in 3 distributors, but none of them signed up, they never get recognition, right? But that person, if the 3 people never signed up, and he brought 3 guests, do you think he's going to bring any guests next week? No, right? So even if he doesn't get those 3 signups, you make them feel good. Because as long as he brings 3 guests every week, as long as he brings 1 or 2 guests every week, do you think eventually you get a sign up? Yeah, but you got to make him feel good. Right? So you take small steps. Don't just give recognition. So recognition is not just rank advancements, top earners, top customers. Rank advancement, recognition could be attendance, who's gone to the most events, who has brought in the most guests, who's the most consistent, who's made the most phone calls this week. You reward those type of small behavior. You get small little milestones for them to achieve. And that motivates them. Think about when we were a kid, learning how to ride a bicycle. You didn't think, oh, all of a sudden you could ride like a triathlon, right? Like a kid can go for like 2 seconds without falling, without the training wheel. You're very happy. Think about it, we were very happy. Then we go for 10 seconds, we're happy, right? You give them small little steps that motivates them. So employees are, again, overpaid at the beginning, underpaid for the rest of their lives. Entrepreneurs are underpaid in the beginning, but overpaid for the rest of their life. And that's the mindset. Sometimes people say, I work 8 hours, I didn't get paid. Right? You have to shift that mindset. So employees are also paid by results. Entrepreneurs are paid by results. The results you get. It's not by how hard you work. It's not by how nice you are. It's not by how many trainings you go to. It's at the end of the day, you're paid by results. And our results are money, volume, my commission check, right? That's what we get paid by. So We're always paid by what the value we provide. If you can generate some amount of sales, that's the value, the company gives you that commission. That's the only thing. We're not paid by how many hours we work, how hard we work, how nice we are. We're paid by results. Sometimes people get confused. I'm a nicer person, I can get better money. No, we're paid by results. Or I go to a lot, like Karen's associate, I go to a lot of trainings, I show up every event, but no results, right? You're paid by results. So do you want to get paid by results? You want to get paid by time? Results, right? Results. And so if you say that, the next time you work hard and you don't get paid, don't get discouraged. Don't think about quitting because you didn't get results. Okay, we're paid by results. And so the first limiting belief is the thing called excessive profits by corporate executives. Okay, these CEOs out there, do these CEOs, most CEOs, by the way, in not just the US, but like in Australia, are they overpaid?
No.
Huh?
Some.
Some are overpaid? How many CEOs, how many think CEOs or some CEOs are overpaid? Some are, right? How many think CEOs are underpaid? Or they paid fair? Fair. All right. So if you think the CEOs are overpaid, you are thinking like an employee. CEOs are not overpaid. Okay? CEOs are not overpaid. Why?
They're not putting the time in.
They put the time in. First of all, CEOs, they work 24/7. Okay? CEOs, when they decide how much they pay, do you think the shareholders just come up with a random number to give free money to the CEO? The shareholders give out the money. You say, oh, we like you. Let's give you so much money. Let's make you overpaid. Well, what does the CEO have to do? Because to get results. He's only paid because he's getting paid whatever, $5 million, $10 million, or $100 million options because he delivered results. He's not overpaid.
But then they don't always get the results, so there's a drop.
Right, okay, so he doesn't get the results. So his family, your family is fine, happy. The media writes crap about him in the media. His kids have to read that stuff written about his father or his mother, or his crap. They have danger money where people, maybe employees unhappy, want to kill them, right? They go through a lot more crap than we do. You can go on a vacation. He was never on vacation. A good example right now in the newspaper is GM, General Motors. That's actually a very big thing in the US. I don't know if anyone know about it, but there were some cars that had a faulty something. Not this is General Motors. Okay, General Motors had a faulty something, and they didn't recall it, and then like a dozen people died. It's actually getting really big now. If you actually go to the news in the U.S., it's on the front page. They had a Chevy Cobalt car, didn't get recalled. Some people crashed, they died, and now they have to recall like 1 million vehicles. But the recall should have been done 5 years ago, but the previous CEO didn't. Now this current CEO is this woman called Barra, which is actually the highest-ranking female executive. Let's talk about like woman power. Highest-ranking female executive for one of the biggest companies in the world. She's the first female to have such a big company. She's only been on the job for like 3 months. But whose head is on the line? People are ripping her. Now, it's not even her fault. This is like 5, 6 years. But her whole career right now is depending. It's not even about earnings now. Her whole future about GM's how she handles the situation. That's not even her fault. Right? And it's actually in the newspaper. They actually had a video. Now they're doing video where people are crying, the Chevy, they killed my brother, died in an accident. They're making a huge thing out of it. Okay, now. Basically her ass on the line. Okay? So CEOs, they're not overpaid. They're paid by the value they provide. They work hard. What's the average tenure of a CEO? 3 years. Once if they get fired, they get displaced, will they ever become a CEO again? Never. They may get some coaching gigs, speaking gigs, but they're never CEOs again. Right? They can never get a CEO job. CEOs, normally they work their butts off for 20, 30 years. Do you think they sacrifice their family time? Right? All that family time, the stress and pressure just to climb the corporate ladder. Some of them actually have bad marriages, right? So if they finally get there, shouldn't they be paid what they're worth? Right? So that's an example of your limiting belief. CEOs are overpaid. They're paid every dollar they're worth. Another related to that is some people think that every year you should get a salary increase. Right? You work hard, you should get a salary increase. Correct? Like, why should you get a salary increase? Just because you're a nice person, you work hard, you get a salary increase? You should only get a salary increase if you provide value that justifies the salary increase. If you do the same job over and over again, it doesn't make the company or the hospital any extra money, you shouldn't get a salary increase. If you go out there doing sales and contributing, yeah, you get an increase. So that's when people say, especially like janitors, they work very hard, they should get an increase. Why should they get an increase? They're not adding any extra value to the company. Actually, in fact, they're actually hurting the company because they're older, right? They can't work as hard. I mean, when you are older, if you're doing like the janitor work, you can't do as fast. You get tired easily. A young guy, an 18-year-old, can clean probably quicker and better, right? So you're actually costing the company more money because you're getting the job done slower than someone who's younger, right? But you're getting a salary increase. So a lot of things, why we think this way is because like media, you're affected by the media. Like this is like Forbes magazine too. Like why America's highest paid CEOs are insanely overpaid. Reading this type of garbage. Okay? Like pay raises expected to average 3%. Everyone's supposed to get a pay raise. If you think of an entrepreneur, think about it. If you were the CEO and you worked your butt off, would you think you're overpaid? You'd be worth every money, every dollar, right? Okay? So that's an example. Thinking about your attitude towards money. So fear of distancing yourself from friends. If I make money, I'm going to lose my friends. If I make money, I'm going to lose friends. Here's the reality. The reality is if you don't get more rich, the world won't get more poor. The fact that you are rich has nothing to do with the poor. So some people feel like if I get richer, I'm not helping the poor. Right? Your status has nothing to do with the rest of the world. They're totally unrelated.
And if you do get richer, you can do more to help others.
Yeah, if you do get richer, so this is a joke actually. How many of you actually like to help the poor? Want to help the poor, right? You know 2 ways to get to help the poor? Number one is to don't be poor. Okay? If you want to help the poor, are you being poor? That doesn't inspire other people to be, right? You just join one of them. You drag them down. You join the group. So don't be poor. Make as much money as you can. Because number 2 is you be rich as you can. Because when you make as much money as you can, what do? You give more, right? We give more. What else do we do? You give, right? You give. The more money you make, the more you give. But what else do we do when we make more money?
If you're an employer, you can employ more people.
Okay, you have a business, you hire more people. You pay higher taxes, which also helps the poor, right? Indirectly. What else do we do when we make more money? We spend it. We all have stupid things we buy, right? Toys that we buy, right? Shopping. So the more money you guys say, if you have more money, you go out to eat more. When you go out to eat more, you're helping the waitresses. You're helping the busboys, right? You're helping the poor. So if you want to help the poor, don't be one of them and go out and make as much money as you can. Because we all spend money. We buy things. So this is actually nonsense. We're talking about divide the wealth. There's a thing called divide the wealth. Like in the U.S., we talk about like there's a state that wants to raise the tax on the capital gains tax for business owners, and think that if they tax the rich, then they help the poor. Okay, the wealthy with businesses, do you think they just sit there and think, oh, take the government, take my money, take my money? What do you think these businesses do?
I learn ways to avoid paying taxes.
They will simply either hire less staff, right? Or they will move their businesses to another state where they pay lower taxes, which will actually hurt the poor people more, because all those people will lose jobs. Okay? Also, they said that dividing the wealth. They actually did a study where if you took the top richest people in the U.S., took all their money, and divided to, like in the U.S., like 300 million people. Divided to 300 million people, everyone would get around like $6,000. Okay, so it'd be fair, right? It's like the Robin Hood. Take all the money, give it to the poor, $6,000. What's going to happen 6 months later? The $6,000 be all gone, and all the money be magically back in the hands of the rich, right? So by giving them the money doesn't help the poor. They buy the big screen TVs, buy stuff, it'll be all gone. And that's why the lottery winners, people win the lottery, they become poor. They actually become more poor than they were before. Because up here, they don't have the money. So just by giving people money, it's like, as the Bible says, don't give a fish, teach a man how to fish, right? Just by giving money doesn't help people. So your goal, if you want to help the poor, don't be one of them and make as much money as you can. So, what are the two basic ways to help the poor? Don't be one of them, be as rich as you can. Third thing is ambition. People confuse ambition with greed. You confuse ambition with being greedy. Ambition and achievement is bad. If I'm very ambitious, I want achievement, that's a bad thing. In the poor neighborhoods in the US, if you actually study, it's actually very sad. If the kids, they study hard, they get picked on. Because it's the same like in Australia, right? Like the poor wants you to stay poor. It's bad to study hard and be a good student. And listen, it's better to be cool and rebel, be bad, right? That's ambition and accomplishment is greed. If you want to accomplish a lot, be a high achiever, you must be greedy. Money is just a multiplier. It doesn't make you bad or good. It's just your values. If you have good values, money will make you a better person. So are you a better person if you voluntarily get less money than you could? So just say like, I could make $1 million, but I'm going to make only $800,000. Does that make me a better person? Right? I'm not going to take as much commissions. I'm going to take less. Does that make me a better person? It's like the products. If our products were cheaper, wouldn't it be better? If people lower the prices, right? If you lower your prices, wouldn't it make the person better? Someone actually asked me this in the Philippines. So if the founder really cared, how come they didn't make the product cheaper? More people could impact, right? More people could take the products. What happens when things are cheap? No value. You can make it cheaper, but no one's going to take the products, right? If the products were cheaper, the company may not even be profitable. There would be no company. Company may not go into that market. But it's in the Philippines. They wouldn't go to the market. People who work for the company will lose jobs. So it doesn't make sense. Okay? So this is a common issue. I ever get that? The products are good. The company really cared. But how come you don't lower how come the products are so expensive? It should be cheaper. So that's not how the world works. Okay? The next one is opportunist. Opportunist means taking advantage of things, taking advantage of people. So businessmen take advantage. Making money is taking advantage of people. Or you sign up, you're taking advantage of your downlines.
Or making money off your family and friends.
You're making money off your friends, right? Yeah, you're making your money off your friends. Right. Think about it. Even if you were the worst upline, you didn't train anyone, right? And you just brought them into the business, you should still get paid. Because you introduced them to the business that can change their life. You should still be rewarded. Now, someone says, just say you're making money off your downlines. If I help you, think of it, if you had a restaurant and I helped you, give you consulting advice, help you become profitable, shouldn't I get a percentage of sales? Right? That's what we do at MLM. Why shouldn't I get paid on your efforts? If I help you and teach you, I should get paid. Even if I don't help you, I still should get paid because I brought you into the business. Yes? Right? So, opportunities, here's a couple examples. When the US went to war in Iraq, they had a lot of military greeting cards, right? Because the military families, they'll buy these things, like cards like Santa Claus on a military helicopter, dropping gifts, things like that. So people say, bad, that's bad. You're taking advantage of the war. Kids' daddies in war, now you're making these cards. And and this is just one of the cards. They have all the cards with like maybe some of them sexy ladies, whatever, for military men. This is bad, right? Is it bad? It's an opportunity to make money, right? That's why we focus on solutions. These are people who are lonely, they miss their loved ones, and they want a greeting card. Why not? Right? They should make the money. They're not predators. Opportunism is capitalism. Taking advantage of opportunity, that's what capitalism is about. Opportunism means if there's problems, you take advantage of those problems to make money. Okay, you see opportunities to make money when there's a problem. So an example is, do you have anyone have a fire alarm in the house? Fire alarm, right? You could just scared of fire. You're scared of a house burning down, right? So I take advantage of fear. Now, people with fire alarms, they sell us to protect the family. The real reason we buy a fire alarm, you're scared, you have fear that you're going to lose your things. I'm taking advantage of your fear. So I'm going to make a fire alarm, make you buy it. Right? You're scared your house is going to burn down, right? Your fear. I'm preying on that, I'm quote unquote being a predator, preying on that fear so that I can sell this fire alarm to you. Is that right or wrong? Huh? There's opportunity though. But if I give her the fire alarm, then she's more happy now. She doesn't have the fear.
I don't think it's wrong because
It's not wrong.
You make a person less fearful.
Yeah, exactly, right?
There is a law in Australia to fire alarm in your house.
Well, there's a law. Okay, law. In the U.S., there's no law, right? A lot of countries, there's not a law to have a fire alarm.
Just if I know how to invent a fire alarm, I would do it.
Right. So people like you. So
You would invent whatever
So-
necessary to sell. So I don't think that's.
there's nothing wrong.
It all depends on what you're selling though. I mean, if you're selling something that somebody doesn't need, that's wrong.
Right. Oh, right.
With integrity. So
Exactly. That's why it goes back to maximize profits with integrity. If you really believe that thing can help someone's life, right? So if I believe, okay, a better fire alarm, just say like a fire alarm with more options. So everyone has to have a fire alarm, but maybe my fire alarm has more options, more deluxe options, right? But if I feel that that thing could make you sleep better at night, so you're not stressed about it, because it can detect fire further away, then I should sell it. Because it makes you're helping someone's life. She can sleep better at night. She doesn't worry about the fire. Right? So it goes back to, you got to believe your product helps someone. But we established that early though, right? And think about it, someone's problem is someone's opportunity. That's capital. If there's no fire, not only would there wouldn't be fire alarms, there wouldn't be fire stations, firemen. Insurance. All those people would lose jobs. Right? That industry would not exist. There was no crime, there'd be no police. Those millions of policemen will lose jobs. So capitalism itself is finding problems and providing solutions. So you're not taking advantage. The total taking advantage is how the world works, how capitalism works. So everyone's tragedy is someone's opportunity. Right? That's how. If there was no diseases, there would be no doctors. If everyone ate healthy, good diets, we wouldn't need supplements. Right? If we had proper farming, so you don't take as nutrients, we wouldn't need supplements. If it was, healthy meals were accessible, we wouldn't need healthy shakes. So everyone's tragedy, everyone's problem is someone's opportunity. So if there was no fires, there'd be no firemen, right? If there's no crime, there'd be no policemen. So let's talk about petrol station. Petrol. I think everyone here drives? Right, drives. So on the holiday weekend, right, the petrol station raises their prices. Right? Don't you hate that? Right? Is that right?
Yes. Well, no, you just learn to buy on the Tuesday.
Learn to buy on Tuesday. Okay? Right. Tuesday. Is that right for the petrol station to charge higher prices? Take advantage. How many think it's right that they should charge higher prices? Right? How many think it's not right for them to do that? Not right. Okay? Listen, okay. Yeah, but it's good to be honest. I mean, the whole point is to be honest with yourself.
There's a greater demand at that time, so because of the demand, you can raise the prices.
Think about it. You're an entrepreneur, right?
Do they pay their staff a different price for the weekend?
Okay, so here's a good question. First of all, you have no right to judge because you have no idea. The petrol station may break even on that Tuesday selling it cheap. And the one time he can make more money is on weekends. Okay, so the low price on the weekday is like a marketing cost. You get people used to go to that petrol station, so the weekend you go to the same station. You have no idea they may be paying people more on the weekend. The salary maybe for the staff may be more. Also, it's a market. This is capitalism. Opportunity. You have an opportunity to make more money, why not? Why not make more money? Think about it, if you were the owner, Caroline, if you owned a petrol station, what would you do?
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, I'm not going to take your money. No, I'm not taking your money.
The
Right?
thing is, my opinion is based on what I have heard everybody else say.
Right, because it's about your programming.
Exactly.
Remember we talked about we have to be careful what people hear. But everyone says it. The media talks about it. The friends talk about it. There's all that programming coming in.
Same on Valentine's Day, the florist look at price drop.
Yeah, right? It's opportunist. That guy may have flowers that are all rotting the month before, right? If an opportunity to make money, you should go all out and make the money. Because what's the business owner's responsibility? Maximize profits. And there may be times, again, he may be lower profits. He may not be making money.
So I work for a company in the administration, and one of the things that they would do is if there was a breakout of Huawei or Gaudi or Crypto3 or anything like that in an area, they would go in there to promote the product because they felt like they were taking advantage and they would get a bad name. And so I'll be honest with you, I think that's a very genuine thing to do. But now what you're saying is that actually not very good at running business. If they can take advantage of the opportunity, they have it and they missed it.
Okay, good question, right? So I'm telling you, there's a company, and the company's been around for a while, so if they've been around for a while, the people know what they're doing. Otherwise, the company would have gone out of business. Okay, they know that the reason why they're not doing it is because they will get a bad name, and that would hurt sales long term. For the backlash, the PR backlash. So they're smart that, hey, we're not going to maximize profits now because the cost of the bad PR is more than the money they'll make. Because again, that will actually not maximize profits, kill their profits. Because it'd be bad in the newspaper. That's why they're doing it.
90% of the people don't think like us now.
Yeah, because people don't think like us. So all of a sudden that'll be the bad company and no one will patronize them.
It's actually,
That's a very good example.
doing good though can actually reap more. So by not actually taking advantage.
But not taking advantage is really about the PR. It's not about doing good. It's like a strategically PR where we do it, we're going to hurt our profits. Building loyalty. It's like a way to building customer loyalty. So they do good, it's portrayed as PR, they get good PR, and people will stick with them. That's like the marketing strategy. Well, so some other companies may say, we don't go for the short term, we might go for that money. Right? But they say, we're not going to do that. Right? So petrol stations. Next is like the convenience store. Are there any bad neighborhoods in Brisbane? So, really bad neighborhoods? Every neighborhood I've gone by seems nice. What's a bad neighborhood in Brisbane? Huh? Woodbridge? Woodbridge is a bad neighborhood, right? Wait, am I going to how? Woodbridge?
Inala.
Woodbridge?
That's it. Inala.
Woodbridge. So Woodbridge, am I going to get shot or get mugged? I will get mugged? We get shot?
Logan.
Okay. So, all right, and then make sure we don't go there. Okay, don't take me there. Fred, we're not going to Woodbridge or Logan. So a convenience store that opens there in the poor neighborhood, bad neighborhood, charges much higher. Most people who live in Woodbridge are probably poor, right? Low income. They charge much higher prices. Is it right they're taking advantage of the poor? Oh, but first of all, why should they charge higher prices? Is that right? They're in a bad neighborhood? Is it right for them to charge higher prices?
Yes.
Absolutely, it's high, right? Because first of all, it's dangerous. That person every day could be like shot and blown off. That may be the last day of the job. It's risky. I mean, how many of you want to open? I mean, if you think that MLM is hard, try to open a convenience store in this neighborhood, right? Way harder. You have to risk safety. Robbed, shoplifting, right? Vandalism. If another store opens up, what's going to happen to the prices? It may naturally drop down. So the prices he's charged is market rate. He also has to pay high insurance, right? He's also brave enough to do it. He's also helping people because if he's not the only brave guy who's brave enough to do it, these people probably have to take a bus to buy groceries from somewhere else and take 1 or 2 hours to get the stuff.
Stevie said charges an extra $20 if it's a Mac user. So they're taking opportunity. Is that taking advantage? I'm trying to get my head around this. And you know, Expedia will charge $3 extra if somebody's using a Mac as opposed to Word.
Well, you know what? They are the business person goes to maximize profits and do it with integrity.
So they're taking opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? If you know Mac users want to give you more money, why don't you take it? And they've done studies where Mac users will pay more money. Because a lot of times the Mac users, a lot of small business owners, like most people use Windows, mostly corporate, right? Mac users are mostly entrepreneurs, and entrepreneur most valuable thing is time.
So that's a good thing.
It's a good thing, because the Mac user is not going to go out there and shop, go on the website for 20 different websites and shop for prices, right? The business owner, they just see a price and want to buy it right away. And so the website, hey, we're going to give you the price, charge it higher.
That's a big thing to swap your mind around on.
It's to maximize. If you own Expedia, would you do the same thing?
Well, yeah.
Exactly, right? You want to maximize profit because you have expenses to pay. They actually may lose money on the other end. You don't know on the Windows user, they may actually lose. They may have to do more customer service complaints. Or the Mac users may have higher standards, so they get the more customer service complaints. You don't know that. So they have to charge higher to make up for that. So you have to get rid of being the predator, right? Being the predator, taking advantage of people. All those like convenience stores, petrol stations, if you were the owner, you would do the same thing. By the way, in the US, talk about the petrol station, during the, was it 08 or something like that? It was like when the stock market crashed and petrol prices increased. By the way, what do petrol stations, where do they make the money from?
Supermarket.
Huh?
Lollies.
The market, right? The lollies. They don't make money from petrol. So that's why when they raise the price in the weekend, that's the few times they actually make the money. They normally break even. By the way, if you actually drive, for example, you're driving to like, let's say you're driving to Long Drive to Sydney, something like that, right? Long Drive. You know how petrol stations do marketing? This is actually talking about marketing fund. Here's a good lesson. How do the petrol stations get you to go to the petrol station?
Food.
What's the first thing that normally most people wipe through? Toilet. The toilet's like the lead magnet. It's the freebie. So they get you in the toilet, and the toilet's normally where? All the way in the back, right? So you go in there, you stop there to get petrol. They probably break even on the petrol. They earn very, very little. You go in, the toilet's all the way in the back. So when you walk there, you see all these good things. So this junk food, you're hungry, normally you're tired. It's got drinks, energy drinks, junk food. When you're tired, you eat junk food, right? And then you go in there, walk one way. After the bathroom, if you haven't thought about it, the second time you go through there, people buy. That's where they make the money from the snacks and stuff. That's why when the U.S. market, when the U.S. Petrol prices tripled, basically, in like 08, 09, 10, something like that, a lot of petrol stations all went out of business. All went out of business because, especially along the freeways, interstate, because most families, especially in the summer, if they fill up with petrol, it may be $70, right? And then maybe have like $30 left over, the budget left over, and they spend $30 on candy, snacks for the kids, drinks in the car. But all of a sudden, $70 became $100, and now there's no money left for the snacks. So all those petrol stations all went out of business, right? And then only recently they're slowly coming back. Okay, the next one is the distribution of wealth, right? We kind of mentioned about this. If you tax the rich, will it work? The rich will find a way to get the money back. But just imagine you have a business. Someone takes more money from you. Are you just going to let the government take money? Or are you going to find a way to make it back? Or minimize the tax, right? Or you move to a different state. Like minimum wage. This is like the politicians like to help the poor, so we raise the minimum wage. And we're talking about the central link minimum wage. When you raise the minimum wage, who does it help? Who does it hurt? Like, when you raise the minimum wage, who does it hurt? Who? Does it really hurt the business owner? Well, when they normally raise the minimum wage, who's that to help? Which group of people? The poor people, right? Because they earn the minimum wage. But when it raise the minimum wage, who does it hurt?
The customer pays for it.
Yeah, it hurts the poor people. right? Because the business owners, are they going to say, oh, yeah, we're just going to pay more money and less profits? What's the business owner going to do? They're going to raise prices or they cut staff. So, by the way, who works in those places? For the poor, the people. So they cut minimum wage workers. Those who raise prices. So, like if you go to McDonald's, they may raise something by 25 cents, right? So 25 cents for a rich. First of all, rich people don't eat at those places, most of them, right? And even if they, eat them, they get 4 burgers, it's $1 more, $2 more. Do you think it doesn't affect the rich? For the poor, extra $2, it makes a big impact on them. Basically, what they're actually paying there is basically more than what they're actually getting back from the minimum wage. So they could be increasing minimum wage of $1, but all of a sudden the groceries are more expensive. The grocery stores, they raise their prices by 10 cents. So the business owners never get hurt because again, they have the mindset, right? If you take my money, they won't get it back. They're not going to sit there, yeah, let's go rob me, take my money. They don't think like that. If you increase the minimum wage, you can lay off people or raise prices. So to divide the wealth, or like the Robin Hood, take the money from the rich, give the poor, it doesn't work. People say like, let's raise the center link, right? Does it help the poor? Doesn't help the poor, right? Doesn't help the poor. It's meant to, theoretically it sounds good, but people are not, it doesn't work that way. So what's the entrepreneur's responsibility? Maximize profits and do it with integrity, right? That's our only responsibility. Okay, the next limiting belief is what we call just. Just. And this, some of you may be uncomfortable with this. The metaphysics version, the secret root, if I just think harder, if I just focus on my goals, be more present, think harder, look, just be more positive, I'll be wealthier. The next one is, I just work harder. If I just work harder, I'll have more wealth. If I work harder. I was brought up in the family that you have to work hard. Okay, especially my grandfather. My grandfather, he had a lot of poverty consciousness. He actually grew up very, very poor in China. We're so poor that he had to, at that time, go into neighbors' backyards and steal the vegetables to eat. That's how he survived. And then the army actually came and kind of saved him. So, but you should work hard. Just work harder. But my grandfather didn't grow up with much money. So even to this day, he thinks people will steal his money. He's like 85, 86. He doesn't like to put money in the bank. He still puts it under his bed. Okay? And he has like another rice cooker, like old rice cooker on the shelf. He puts money in there. But he doesn't trust the bank. It's the programming. Even like later on, he had like high cholesterol, but he used to eat eggs. Because back then in China, if you have 1 egg a week, that was a big luxury. So now you have as many eggs you want, you eat. You tell him, no, it's not good for you. But he still eats them. Because of all the programming up here. So if you just work harder. By the way, how many of you actually think you work hard? Work pretty hard. Some of you think you work hard, right? You work hard. By the way, anyone who does trading work or construction work, but none of us here work really that hard. The people who do manual physical labor, like bricklayers, people who do construction, they work way harder than us. Huh?
Teaching is hard.
Teaching is hard. Mental, but not physical hard work. Okay? I'm telling you, if you think you're hard work, like when I was painting, renovating my house, that is hard work. Doing boarding, try to do like whatever those crown molding, that is hard work. I didn't even know that. Nail gun? Huh?
Because look after the old Chinese. So when you cook, when you bring them to doctors and all this is fine, but when you have to clean the house for them, that's hard work.
Yeah, that's hard work. What we do is like a business. It's not hard work. Just by working harder doesn't make you more money. Doesn't make you more money by working hard. Actually, a lot of physical harder, right? Doesn't make you, like when I say at the end of the day, making you tired and beat, right? Like I have a friend, he raises horses. And some of the hardest working there, people take care of the horses. They wake up at they have to be at the stable at 7 in the morning, clean the horses, clean their crap, clean their urine, disgusting stuff. Clean it up, right? Clean the horses. By 1 p.m., feed them. By 1 p.m., maybe he gets a break. And then if it's a race day, by 5 p.m. he's going to be back. Maybe something like 4:30 back there working. And then by the time the race day is done, I have to clean the horses, do all that. Got to go to bed by midnight, 1 a.m. Next day, start the whole same routine. You know, in the summer, it's like hot, like here. No aircon. In the winter, it's freezing. Your hands are cold, still got to take care of the horses, do all that stuff. That is like hard work. Right? What we do is like prospecting, talking to people, that's not hard work. That's easy. But working harder doesn't make you more money. It's actually working smarter. Think of a lot of the hardest working people out there. The people who work at restaurants, doing dishes, they work way harder than we do. Right? Are they rich? Right? But they're not wealthy. Working harder doesn't make... Actually, anyway, we wouldn't want to be in a society where like the people who run the society are like the mules. Mules work hard. We call it donkeys. Donkeys work hard. Would you want a society run by eagles or donkeys? Right? So you don't want to... So the money doesn't go to if you work hard. The other one is, I just be a better person. If I just become a better person. And this is a lot of spiritual things. It's like the analogy is like, if I just go to church more. Some people, I go to church twice a week. If I go to church one more time a week, pray more, I'll have more money. Okay? God and money, I mean, it's irrelevant. You know, God is, first of all, you shouldn't be praying to God for money anyway, right? It's totally not related. Especially in the Philippines, people pray to God for abundance. If I pray longer, I have more money, right? There's nothing to do. You know, does money make you a better, or does it make you a more spiritual person, better Christian? Right? It's not relevant. By the way, money has no consciousness. Okay, no consciousness. Money is not like, oh, you can't tell whether you're good or bad. It just comes to you. Because money's not like flowing out there, and you know, if money had a consciousness, it would just go and sees bad people, like a drug dealer. The money will stop, right? There's very wealthy drug lords, criminals, right? If money had a consciousness, those people shouldn't get money. So just buying a better person doesn't make you more money. If that was true, being a better person makes you better money, then all the criminals were very poor. All the drug dealers were poor. Right? Internet. You know what's a big part of internet e-commerce? Pornography. Adult entertainment. If money had a consciousness, all those porn websites would go out of business. Like money has no conscience. Whether you're a good person or a bad person is irrelevant. So drug dealer, crime, adult entertainment would not exist. Actually, in the U.S., a lot of hotels now are worried because adult entertainment is actually like 20% of revenue of hotels. Okay, hotels. And now they're thinking of getting a law to ban it. But these hotels, they're afraid to lose those profits. But they can't all publicly say, "Oh no, well, come on, keep that. No, don't get rid of the law," because most people don't know about that. So money again has no conscience; it just comes. It just goes. Whether good or bad, it comes. All right, number 7 is not, we kind of talked about, it's not right to take their money. It's not right. Meaning, they don't have much money. They can't pay the rent. I shouldn't sign them up. I shouldn't take the money. Why do we need to sign them up? Because whether you take the money or not, someone else will take the money. Right? Somebody. The poor get the cable TV. Right? But also, we kind of mentioned this before. They may watch a TV show that motivates them to do something. Right? They may see an infomercial, like an Amway. Then he decides to do Amway. So we have no right to judge people how they should be spending the money anyway. So remember, our responsibility is to maximize profits. Next limiting belief is they're scared of problems that the rich have. The rich have problems. I'm scared. Like, do the rich have problems, by the way? Yeah. Do the poor have problems? Yeah. Everyone has problems. But remember, it goes back to the equation. A result equals event plus reaction. It's how you deal with the problems. Because everyone has problems. Okay? So money will create more problems. Yes, true. Okay, I have more problems. In my house, I'm excited to go home, but one thing I'm not excited about is like my water heater It's on the second floor. I don't know why it's on the second floor, but it's leaking. So we have to move it. You know, it shouldn't be on the second floor. I don't know why they designed the house that way, but it's supposed to be put outside. So it's going to cost like $5,000 to move it outside. The money's not an issue, but I don't want to. Who's going to watch the plumber to do that type of work? Right? I don't want to be stuck in the house watching the person. Now my wife is talking about this. It's like a new type of electric heaters now that is more efficient. Anyway, I don't want to deal with that type of stuff. It's like just talking about it right now is making me really annoyed. Okay? I have to get back to the plumber. That's a problem. But if you ask me, would I rather have the water heater problem or the problems I used to have when I lived in my tiny apartment? Okay, I'll take the water heater problem. Right? So we all have problems. The rich don't have more. Well, actually, the rich actually, as you grow, they have more problems, but they also know how to handle the problems. Here's a good thing to write down if you have problems. The size of a person is determined by the size of his problems. Fred and I were talking about that. So as you get older, small little things don't bother you anymore. Shows that you're growing, mature. The size of a person is determined by the size of his problems. When you're a little kid, every small thing bothered you. But I think when we were babies, right? When kid, like my son, every little thing bothers him. He doesn't like it.
Ticket on the back of the shirt.
Yeah, you were talking about your kid. Like just because of salt and pepper thing, they start a fight. They didn't pass the salt, right? And they smack and start a fist fight. Kids, 2 boys. I guess that's what I have to look forward to. 2 boys. I'm going to ask Karen for advice. 2 boys, 2 years apart. Right? Because, so as we grow, we know better than that. There's emotional intelligence, EQ. IQ is not that important. EQ is important. Emotional. There's a good book, by the way. EQ. A lot of small problems.
The trains.
The what?
The trains.
Oh, the trains. Yeah. Every time I'm in Fred's car, the train comes. So like my son, actually, so every time we drive, we have to cross the train track, the train comes. So it's like the law of attraction. He actually says every time it comes, the train comes. And the train really comes. Okay? So my son actually loves trains. So every time I see a train, he likes 2 things: garbage cans, garbage bins, and trains. So when I go jogging, I see garbage bins, I take video. Hey, Ethan, look at these Australian Brisbane garbage cans. So trains, we see the trains, I take a video. Okay, Ethan, there's a train. But since I've been riding Fred's car, he's basically seen the same video 4 times already. He's like, Simon, are there any other trains out there? But the size of a person is determined by the size of his problems. So, yeah, more people, wealthier people, they still have problems, but the small problems don't bother them anymore. Okay, they know how to handle their problems better.
But if you're an optimistic person, shouldn't your problems get a little bit less, right?
Yes,
Like, you know,
yeah.
you see families who, like I've got friends, that just one thing after another happens to them, and I think it can only happen to them. And, you know, our household is a lot, less dramatic.
Well, number one, I mean, it's like they look at it differently. It's perspective, right? Like to them, it's like a big problem. To you, it's not a problem because the size of a person.
Then something else.
I think it's also about your sickness physically, right? If you're negative, we're talking about you can focus on 2 things: problems or solutions. When you think negative, does it add stress to you? Physically, that adds stress to you. It makes you ill, right? Think about like the happy people. Normally, they live longer. They're healthier. So if you're negative all the time, complaining, mentally, you say negative, it physically makes you feel bad. There's a chemical reaction. When you're stressed, complain about problems, think about them, there's chemical reactions going on inside your body that decreases your immune system, stresses you out. That's why when you're under stress, it's easier to get sick. So they stress themselves. Small little problems, they react, they think negative, and it's like a bat. The more you think about negative, the more stress you get. The more stress you get, the more badly you think. And it gets worse and worse.
Basically, you're saying it's not what happens to you that matters, but it's how you react to what happens to you that matters.
Is that right?
Because you can have this lady in front of us saying her neighbor has got problems after problems. This sounds like my family. I got one son here broken and fell from the tree or whatever, and blood in the hospital, and then another one, and then one went blind, one went chronic fatigue, one went what. And at the end of the day, I can be overwhelmed and die there with them. Or you pray, you rise above yourself, you encourage each other, and so on. So
Yeah, you're absolutely. It's the way you look at things, right?
Yeah.
It's the way you handle the situation.
Many of the people here that I've met, they've overcome many problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them very history.
Yep.
sorry, Carl, I don't even remember that some of the ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about how, it's like, remember the result equals event plus reactions. How you react, how you handle it. For one person, that's the end of the world. And they just dropped it, they just give up. Some other people say, this happens, how can I handle the best situation? Or what's the lesson I can learn from this? Towards in the afternoon, we're going to talk about it, right? Like, all news is good news. Really, I mean, aside from like terminal illness and disease, all news is good news. Every time something bad happens, like, what can I learn from this lesson? So next time it doesn't happen. Well, but you can only be like that if you're solution-oriented. So this thing bad happened, okay, what's the lesson behind this? How can I prevent this not happening again? If you're negative, you end up being what? Blaming or complaining. Once you blame or complain, then it's not your fault. Oh, then you start blaming, complaining, then you never get better. Right? And then actually mentally drains you down and it gets worse and worse, it stresses you out, you're focusing on the wrong things. By the way, they don't teach you this stuff in school, right? They just do, so that's why we're conditioned a certain way. So will money alienate your friends? It will, or can't. Well, the ones who are your not real friends will alienate. The ones who are your true friends, they'll still be there, right? So if you're afraid of alienating friends, it's actually a good filter to find out whether you're real friends or not friends, real friends. There's a guy, recently he won it was maybe a couple of years ago, won the lotto in the US. And he didn't win like the massive lotto, like a small lotto, like not 40 million, but like 5 million. So when they win the lotto, you have to go to the TV station, they publicize it, right? So it gets more people to buy lottery tickets. So the night before he's about to go on TV and be in the news, he calls his friends at 11 o'clock at night. So, hey, how's it going? How you doing? Hey, you know what? I'm in a really tight situation now. It's really life or death situation, and I need $10,000. Can you lend it to me? And she slowly checks off the friends. No, 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 no. So it's pretty smart. The next day after he wins the lotto, none of those friends call him for money. Okay? So you immediately say, hey, when I called you, needed you money for 11 p.m., you didn't give me money? You said no? So now that I won the lotto, don't tell me you have problems to lend me money, because you didn't lend me money when I was such a good friend, I needed help, you didn't help me. That was very smart. Immediately eliminate a lot of those problems. People call in. Guys get it? Delayed reaction. Huh? Very good, right? Will money make you a target? Do you got it now? Yeah, either me, I'm a little slower, you guys are a little slower, both of us. I'm not telling the jokes well. So make you a target, right? People target you? Absolutely. Again, they are, if they're really your true friends, or people, everyone's going to be a target anyway. Right? If they're your true friends, they'll still be your friends.